Hello, hello, and welcome to the Lion's Den. I am your host, Lauren Lyons, and we're back. This time we are recapping Paradise Season 2. Last week we were talking about um, the traders and we covered all the episodes, so I figured, hey, let's talk about traders since it just aired last this week actually. And Yeah, I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Okay. So yeah, I figured let's come and actually talk about Paradise. This week these were such good episodes that I felt like, oh man, this is gonna be a good season. Though I am upset that it's only eight. That's another conversation. But of course, you guys know before we get started, we have to go over our house den rules. This is scripted television, so whatever I say is obviously not real. And I'll just be giving my opinion and thoughts, potential theories, and seeing where I think this season might go. I'll also be referencing some other podcasts as well, um, with information that I have found. And yeah, I think, oh yeah, whether it's water or your favorite cocktail, get it in your hands. If you got your shades and we feeling shady, that's what we do here at the Lions Den. We'll put on our shades and then what we're about to get into, which there might not be too much of that because it's scripted, but you know how we do here on the Lions Den podcast. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And also, sorry, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and share the podcast, please. Like, we need followers, we need support. I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you. All right. So I feel like because it has been like a year or so, because now this is now the new um way that TV schedule TVs, or we have to wait year or so to get new episodes. But I feel like it may be pretty good to go back and recap a little bit, just do like a quick overview of what happened on season one, just to make sure that we're all refreshed and we just remember, how did we get here? How did Xavier Sterling Knight get on Earth, and how why was he in a plane? So just quickly, season one, we find out that there is pretty much a world apocalypse coming, and I don't remember exactly what the project was named, but it was coming, and Sinantra was trying to figure out ways to prevent it, or what she was told by the scientists, hide from it in order to preserve some human lives. But what we end up seeing is it became survival of the fittest. So in class, in race, where certain groups of the community were allowed to come and be hidden in a bunker or a utopia underground world, where others were pretty much left to die. And so most of the rich people, well-off people, or essential workers were asked to go, while others were left. And it was a top secret mission that the president knew about. And I think at so we go through the season where we start off and develop how do we create that bunker. Um, we also see where the president, I think they were thinking about, I think, blowing up, if my memory serves me correctly, blowing up part their nukes, or not blowing up their nukes, just in case there were some survivors, and going through that struggle. And then also building the actual facility, and how it did cause certain workers to lose their lives and get sick, and that will be important later on in the story. Well, then we find out that the president, Sterling Xavier, who serves as a CIA agent and he is in the Secret Service with the president, we find out that he did not know how serious it was. And his wife was off somewhere else doing an important meeting because she is a doctor. Although he was not, he was definitely not, he was omitting, but like it was context clues that, hey, you need to tell your wife not to go. Xavier still had a love hate relationship with the president because he felt like he owed him that truth because they had built a relationship. Thus, his wife was in Atlanta and they all had to evacuate with his two kids, a girl and a boy, thus leaving the wife here. And you don't know if people are dead or alive, but now there is a big explosion. Flooding is happening. Ash clouds are going, and people are being left behind, left and right. While Xavier and his kids, of course, have a place in the new utopia because he is Secret Service. So we pretty much see where one group of people leave another. While this is all happening, we find out who Billy is. Who Billy is really close with Xavier, but come to find out, Billy is a hired killer. Is it merchant? Not merchant. That's not merchant. Mate. Anyway, doesn't matter. Killer will work, and he has been working with Sinatra, carrying out orders for her because she has, in a very interesting way, I guess we could say trauma based because her child passed away, and so now she's kind of overprotective of her only kid and daughter and family. She is very aggressively tried to come up with solutions to save her family, really herself and her family and other people. And thus she used him and Billy's services to help make that happen. Um at first we don't know that they are in a utopia, right? We think that this is some normal world, and then it is finally revealed what's really going on. And then we later find out that Sinatra was not being completely honest about the fact that people were absolutely still alive on Earth, and that pretty much sets off Xavier because he's been looking for his wife and he wants to know, is she still alive? So therefore he starts a revolt in a, again, utopia type of society, so it has people pretty shaken up. And they battle it out. Sinatra then holds her daughter hostage because, come to find out, Sinatra has another killer in the utopia. There's someone else, psychopathic killer, who is here carrying out her job for her that nobody else knows. This killer kills Billy, so we no longer see Billy anymore. And this is what stops Xavier from carrying out finishing up his plans. But he does tell Sinatra he's going to look for his wife and help others and figure out a way for people to be brought back because it was wrong at the end of the day. While this happens, our killer is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and true sociopath Jane, who ends up was an agent who portrayed herself as a very green agent. In fact, is not green and was playing a parole because she is a blonde, blue-eyed white girl. And pretty much, as Xavier is trying to get the truth from her, intersects and shoots Sinatra in the throat, thinking we're trying to figure out the fate of Sinatra. While this happens, the vice president, who is incompetent, like most politicians are, becomes the new president, and we're left in a cliffhanger of if she's okay. We also find out who killed the first president, right? Because I did kind of graze over that, but the president was killed at the beginning of the show. The original, I guess there's like three now at this point, but the first one, Cal, is his name Cal? I'm pretty sure his name is Cal. He is killed, and we were trying to figure out who did it. But come to find out, when they looked at the DNA, it was no one who was registered, and it ended up being the librarian, because the librarian took on the librarian's identity and has been hidden here for a while and has been plotting his revenge because he saw a bunch of his friends, mine worker friends. I think one of them he was in love with, die because of all the chemicals and harsh conditions of working in the mine to build this underground bunker. So that's where we pretty much left off season one. Thus, Xavier goes and he going to find his wife in Atlanta because he finds out like, oh, I can go here and people can breathe. But they were killed. That news was shot down because they didn't want people to get the idea that they can leave. But we're gonna find out soon, I think, that there's more to the story or more of what's going on. Um with Sinatra and what she's not sharing because she's holding her cards very tight. So after that, we pick it up in season two, and we think we're gonna pick it up where Xavier is finally on Earth, and we get to see what's really going on. But we actually pick up with a new character. Her name is Jane, played by Shailene Woodley. Did I pronounce her name right? Lord have mercy. Let me see. It is titled Graceland. Yeah, Shailene. Yeah, Shailene Woodley. Ooh, girl. Okay. Shailene Woodley. I know her from Secret Life of the Teenage American Secret Life of the American Teenager off of ABC Family. That's where I know her from. She's been in the game for quite some time. Uh I was excited to see her because the girl know how to act. She gonna do it good. She gonna do it big. So we started off where she is pretty much a little girl and she has a sickly mom who has some mental health issues, but her mom really loves Elvis. And every day she would go to the Graceland, go to the tour, and would recap her mother every day about different facts about Elvis. And if she learned some new information, share that with her mom because that was a way of like giving her mom some peace or whatever. Well, one day she comes home and finds that her mom has passed away. Um, thus, this inspires Jane. I hope that's her name, Annie. Girl, where I get Jane from? Annie. Annie. It inspires Annie to go in pursue a career in the medical field. Now, she is doing phenomenal job as a student in as a medical field, but because she does struggle with anxiety and I would say PTSD of walking in and seeing her mom pass away, she's unable to complete her residency as a medical professional because anytime she deals with a patient who has similar symptoms as her mom, it sends her into a complete panic attack. So she has then she's at a crossroads, breaking down, doesn't know what else she's going to do with her life. There, she is introduced by a security guard at Graceland because it's a place that she did find peace and solace in. Tells her, "Hey, you need to move your car." Was it and the person playing the security guard was the that chick Angel. I was super excited to see her. I was like, that's Angel. I think I did see promotion that she would be on the show, but I completely forgot about it. But I was super excited. I'm so happy for her to be able to do such a big project and play a pretty significant role. So I was like, oh, that's my girl. Okay. Like play and play more of a serious role as well. It was she did a great, phenomenal job. Super happy to see that. And for those who don't know, that girl Angel is Give Me One Margarita girl, but also she does a lot of things with Kevin on stage. But anyway, she sees that the girl is struggling and offers her a job as to be a tour guide because she would be young. And she said all of the other ones keep dying because they're old. Annie loves it. Excuse me. She is doing the tour. She knows like the back of her hand. And she is enjoying herself and found a level of purpose, all because of the security guard. But then we get to the day. We get to the day. So we really what we see is we experience what that day was like from the perspective of civilians, right? I think in season one we got it from the perspective of the White House and staff members and how, setting up that there will be a conflict of people who were left versus deliberately left. Like you saw it firsthand that they were left versus the civilians who were completely left out and don't know what's going on. So it's obviously going to build, right? Like it's going to hit the head on the nail when those people find out. that they were intentionally left, and then the people who know they were left out come together and see that people have been living in a bunk, pretty much full free. And it's going to be very interesting. It's coming. I can't say that I don't blame them because it was a pretty messed up thing to do. Like, I think it was 25,000 people could live in that bunker, 7 billion people in the world. Right? Like, if we're doing art statistics, 7 billion people in the world, only 25,000. And it seems like it's only America. Oh yeah, people going to be ready to throw hands. I can't say that I blame them. I really can't. just keep Xavier out of it. Like, just keep him out of it. Keep all the black people out of it, but it's coming. So as this happens, you see Annie take control and decide with the security guard, because that's where they have been, where they she spent most of her time there. They decide to bunker down and stay within Graceland house, great at the home. And very, I mean, you can see, you kind of get insight on how Annie is as a person, where she is very smart, a planner, um good at, when it comes to conflict, being able to quickly adapt, quickly know what to do, even in a time of panic. And she, I think, did what a lot of people didn't shouldn't have done. Right? A lot of people were panicking. Some people were doing crime and or trying to run away, but she was like, no, we need to bunker down. So that's what they end up doing, because they were in the house. There was a bunker underground, because I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, historically, and I'm just taking a jab here, there, World War II or the Vietnam War, there was a war going on, and so there would be houses that would have start having bunkers, because nuclear weapons were new, up and coming. The United States was fighting with the Soviet and other countries about how to use them. So you would start seeing different homes have that built into their house. And that's what happened with Graceland. So they grab supplies. As they're grabbing supplies, we start to see the ash clouds and how the flooding started to come. All of these things start to happen. As this happens and they're going down the stairs, the lights go out, service is gone. The security guard ends up falling and hurting her leg, or breaking her leg, I believe. So she, because she has a medical background, does try to help her and, bandage her up to the best of her abilities. But it's kind of like, if you broke a leg and you gashed it open, you need antibacterial, and you don't have that. The world just ended. So there is this, you kind of already know where this is going, with the security guard, which feels very familiar to Annie. So they go at first days to now weeks, and they did grab enough food. At this point, I mean, the world's ending. The artifacts in the Elvis house now really no longer mean anything at this point. They have to do what they have to do to survive. In the midst of them, when they were retreating to the basement, she does grab Elvis's gun, which will come up in the future. But so far, they eat what they have, they're fine. But as we see, the security guard's injury is getting worse and worse. And then by day 46, so about not even 2 months, security guard passes away. And at this time, the weather, they're able to go on top of the house, because there was a test, test, Jesus, I can't, but you guys know what I'm saying. Um, and they're seeing what's going on in the world and seeing what's happening. At this time, it is not very cold, but so cold. There's not been sun for a month and a half at this point, because they're on day 46. Um, yeah, that's over a month and a half. she can't even bury her. She can't even put her in a grave because it's so cold. And at this point, Annie is by herself. And again, it reminds her of what it was like when her mom passed away, having someone close to you that you build a bond with, and they're yet again gone. And I think this is good to set it up on where we go future with Annie's story in the first couple episodes. But finally, day 689, the ash clouds clear and the sun returns finally. So we're talking 2 years, over 2 years. There's 365 days in a year. Over 2 years, she has been inside with the cold. Quite frankly, I mean, where do you go? I mean, I really wouldn't explore, especially in the cold. I wouldn't. And the world just ended, so you don't even know what type of cold this is. So I get it, but I can't even last a whole day in my house. I can't imagine 2 years. Hey, child, I would have had to make me up some friends. You hear me? I couldn't do it. Really couldn't do it. My God. So while she is there at her house and there's more sun, and she's now starting to, get sun, which helps you with, mental health, and also you need that vitamin D. She gets plants. She starts to kind of build her own life and routine with the sun. And then some men with guns arrive to the Graceland house, and she's just shocked because she's like, "What? I don't know what to do." So she's scared out of her mind because I would be too. I mean, you're in a lawless town where you don't know who's here. You saw the crime, people lost their mind. What is morally okay gets flipped upside down, usually in a type of post apocalyptic society. So you're going to be very scared, and men are scary. They are jump scare. So I fully understand why she would be like cautious and be like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. And not want them in her house, but obviously they could just walk in. Like, she don't have a lock or nothing. Like, she grabs her gun and she hides. And they realize that somebody is in here because they can smell the food. And thus she one of them comes and finds her. He's like, "Hey, I'm nice, please." Like, "Okay, I'm one of the good guys." She don't care. She whacks him in the head, which, quite frankly, yeah, I don't think I would believe you either. But turns out they actually were the good guys. So it's like, oh, thank God, because you're a bunch of men. I don't listen. Men are dangerous. So, and they end up, as time goes on. It's not that it's a couple of days. They really just wanted to come because they knew that Elvis had some parts in his cars at the house, and they wanted to use those parts to trade and help them with something because they call themselves actually kind of freedom fighters by trying to disengage all the nuclear plants that were left here to pretty much make it safer and then not over time blow up and hurt and injure more people. But going that close to radiation is starts to impact their bodies. So you'll see them get nosebleeds or headaches, points. But they're a bunch of nerds. Bunch of nerds. So it almost kind of reminds you of this very Snow White of like story, right? Where she's around the dwarves. She's the only lady. And they end up growing fond of her, building a bond, a relationship with her. She dresses up like Lisa Presley. One night, as they have a very sit down formal dinner, very parallel to, I would say, maybe Snow White and the dwarfs for sure. But she ends up building a connection with Link, who is the guy she hit in the head. And it's definitely a situation where you could tell that one, she's been by herself for 2 years. Two, she's experienced a lot of trauma when it comes to rejection and people leaving her. Not necessarily like people like relieving her, period, passing away out of her control. But Link seems like a person that is safe, is gives her hope, right, and love in a place where you would think that wouldn't exist. And surely but slowly but surely get it on. I don't know how else to say it, but we do the whoop de woo. Um, I was like, okay, right. But I'm not gonna lie, like the whole scene and the build up and everything was really cute. Like it was very cute. I think that they did really good in painting the story to where she gets comfortable with him, gets to know who he is. You notice that he does take a liking in her because he has a beard and he ends up shaving it off during their very nice dinner, like making efforts to both impress each other. Then you get to see how their personalities are very different, but they still complement each other because they're both very smart, just in very, in different ways. And they built that connection and they bond and, they woo woo. So as that happens, he, tells her about the fact that they're going to Colorado because they want to, this another nuclear plant, but they also know that there's this bigger bunker that a lot of people are at, is very popular and they're trying to rebuild a new society. So what was very interesting about this is like in a lot of other post-apocalyptic stories, it's total chaos. Like people do live in groups, but kind of like Last of Us. Yeah, no, like this was not the innocent. Like it would really be the wild wild west. And it seems like in this case that's not what happens. And I think that that's probably intentional to build up more of the point that you left the innocent people here, right? The people that are corrupt, that lie, that cheat, that are about profit and leadership and attention are the people that are in that bunker, are in that utopia. But the real people, the people who have heart, passion, community, respect, and love for each other, they're not the villains in this story. They simply just want to have a good life, build a good life. So I found that distinction to be very different, especially when you um, compare it to other stories of post-apocalyptic societies where oftentimes, yeah, you got to find a tribe, pray that they're good, stick it out with them, but you can't be going everywhere else as much, doing your own thing because you're gonna get got, you're gonna get killed, and there's always someone fighting for power. That's not necessarily what's happening in this case. People do want to work together. People do want to build something, and you of course have your outliers because he did mention the little pockets that weren't cool, that weren't safe, and those pockets will come up later. But thing that I thought was a different perspective and take, and does lean absolutely and set us up to what we know is going to be an issue in the future once people know that they knew about this and left them. So uh, he tells her he wants her to go to this bunker and they want to meet Alex. They got to get, or they need to do something in that bunker. She panics. She goes and hides. And pretty much he's like, come on, I really want you to go with me. For some reason, she's shaken to her core in fear and she's just like, she's not going. Side of the door, though, we do hear from one of the guys that pretty much was like, hey, you need to get yourself together. You can't lose focus because you like a girl. I get it. But like, we got to handle business. Well, we can't stop our mission and we got to go and kill Alex. Kill Alex. Who's Alex? So, okay, casually say you got to kill someone. Now, to this point, you think these are a bunch of nerds. So to hear kill Alex was like, okay, maybe there's obviously a little bit more to them that was not being said. So as this happens, she's watching them leave, watching them pull away. He does leave a note that says he will come back and find her with a map, and he gives her a map to Colorado as well, in case I guess she changes her mind. Which because he tells her where the pockets are, which I'm like, good luck. Or you could just go right now, like because my thing was like, girl, you got nothing to lose. Literally, you're in it. You got nothing to lose. just gonna sit in this house for the rest of your life? I mean, you might as well take the risk. It's all, or it's literally nothing. Or go with him. I don't understand. Like, what could you possibly lose by going with him? She kind of made me mad a little bit with that because it just didn't make sense. It's like, okay, so you're gonna wait for somebody else to come and they may not be friendly. Like, you realistically cannot think you will be fine and safe your whole life in this house. You can't think that. Like, yeah, but I mean, given her, I understand given her background and her experience, this is trauma. This is PTSD of I don't want to get close to someone because they always leave me. Mom happened with the security guard. So with she wanted to, I think, hold on to that moment, not really put it at risk of being fear can make you do some irrational things for sure, because it definitely didn't make sense. But anyway, get this montage following Annie, time going through I'm assuming months. It has to be months because she stand up by the goddamn window and her belly is large. I said, girl, not on the first time. I was like, you want to use protection? Like, respectfully, excuse me, respectfully. I get it. I mean, I get it. I get it. I get it. Like it's the end of the world. You know, you gonna either die from Raiders or you gonna die from, I guess, AIDS. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, this man just said he's been going to nuclear plants, radiation. You just okay. It's like, okay, girl. Okay, girl. So I guess with her being pregnant now, I think we'll start to see Annie's perspective change a little bit because you about to have a whole child, like a whole baby girl. You about to be a whole single mom for what? Like, mm. So that's pretty much where episode one leaves off. Or no, I'm sorry. We hear an explosion of a airplane and Annie decides to actually leave her house because before they leave, their horse that she let go that stayed at Graceland does come back, which she's riding on a horse pregnant. I'm pretty sure you can't do that, but hey, it's TV. She's riding on a horse pregnant. We finally see Xavier next to his plane passed out. So it was like boom. I was like, oh, y'all trying to work. You better work this story now. Work it, work it. So episode two, titled Mayday. We pick up where Collins wakes up from a plane crash, falling out of his cockpit. He just remembers going in the plane and hail hitting the plane, cracking through, thus making him crash. As he crashes, he finds himself in the areas, in the pockets that are dangerous, that people are kind of scavenger wild in. And so he hears people coming his way. As he hears people coming this way, he sees a kid who's not really speaking. You assuming he's mute, but ends up helping him and telling him, like, hey, like signaling, not say tell, signaling like, hey, you need to go because they're gonna come and get you. Like, you just fill out the plane and you got supplies and you got food and you got stuff you need to go. Like, he said all this. Now he ain't mumble a word, but he said all of that. Um, so he helps him hiding away from those men coming to the plane, and then it starts to hail rain, thus making them leave and seek shelter. Xavier tells him, I have to get my bag. I have to get my bag. I need these items. I gotta get my bag. So he ends up I think the kid leaves him actually. At first he leaves him, but then comes back for him and helps him and then lets him stay in their it's not really a bunker, it was like a ship. And when they turn the lights on, it's a whole bunch of kids. It's about 7 of them. I'm like, God, Lee, oh my God, it was sad. It was really sad. It definitely kind of gave horror. It did, but it was really sad. Like, dang, like Lost Boys because they're in a ship. I mean, they were girls, but like all in this. I think it was more of like a more cruel Lost Boys because it's like they're in a ship, they get the freedom, they're kids, but you didn't ask to not be with your parents. Like you didn't have a choice. You didn't want to. It just happened. You're now living this lost boy life. But almost flipped, you aren't a kid forever. You're forever, like it's forever changed you to where, you are an adult and you don't it robbed your childhood away from you. Because even when it came down to they were immune to bodies, violence, knew that things would happen. And it was shocking Xavier because he was betting on their innocence. And it was very clear that it was gone because they had seen too much. And so you could just see the impact of that, even with them not really speaking, not feeling safe, not even getting attached. They're attached to each other, but not attached to adults because they know that I think they straight up told him, like, okay, you'll be dead soon. Like, what? Uh, Okay. You know, they were immune. Like, they were so immune to bad things happening to them. It was very sad to see this group. But this is all going on. We get these parallel stories happening at the same time. So we get the story of what's happening to him as the plane crash and him entering back on Earth. But then we also see his love story with him and his wife Terry. Now, I have to say I absolutely loved it. I Phenomenal job. What well first, the thing that I love most is that this is two solid people who are madly in love and we get to see their relationship and it's allowed to just exist. It's allowed to be. It's not trauma, like trauma in the way of they are bad people or they are traumatic people, but just real genuine black love. Two beautiful dark skinned people love each other, and you see the beautiful relationship of a black man and a black woman together. Mm. And him really valuing her and valuing her difference and valuing who she particularly is. And they deep dive that a lot in their in a part of their story and how they met. But I loved it. Oh, I loved it. I really did. It was so good. So we pick up where it flashes back to when he is first in the Secret Service in 2004 and he injures his knee. Kind of the same knee he injures, or he does hit that knee in the pilot in when he falls out of the plane. So that's how they connect the two stories. And he has to get surgery on his knee in order to get it popped in place. Excuse me. So as he's in the hospital, he hears he has a roommate. He was complaining about Joe. Excuse me, sorry guys. He was complaining about Jello and the flavor that he didn't like, so she threw one because going on and on about that Jello. Which sidebar, y'all help, is that nurse? She played on a show, on a movie, and it's been bothering me. She's all grown up, but she played on a movie, and I felt like it was like a movie that we used to watch, like Disney Channel, Nick, or something like. Uh, she went on. She was on a movie. She was with an ensemble of kids, and I think she was like the bully and became nice. It's bothering me that I cannot remember who that nurse was, and I cannot find her name. Please, sister, I need to know who is the actress. Oh, that was bothering me so bad. But anyway, He goes or turns around the corner and he finds Terry and he's immediately smitten, which I absolutely loved. And she ain't having it. She's not really interested. But he continues to have a conversation, still pursuing her. Because I think she was talking about, what did she say? I gotta find it. Um, I gotta find it, guys, because it was too good. Why is that making noise? I gotta find it. It was too cute. I don't know exactly the word she used, but I know what he said. I could tell you what he said. She was telling him about the things that she does or she's going for as a doctor and getting her PhD. And there was a word she said, and he goes, "Not, I'm gonna need." He goes, "I'm gonna need your number in a second." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Not you spitting game in a hospital gown in the bed. Oh wow. I was like, okay. But I liked it because it felt like a genuine thing somebody would probably say. Like super corny personality that would probably more than most other things pull a woman into like you. But she was playing hard to get. But I wasn't mad at her though. Miss PSG, I know that's right. So they pretty much go on about their story and how she's there because she needs to get a procedure to help with her scoliosis before she goes back into school. I mean, I think she was gonna travel, go some other places because I think, eventually works for like the UN or something. Um, while she's there, she has her surgery. She ends up losing her eyesight. Well, when she loses her eyesight, that of course puts her in a situation that is traumatizing because imagine you go for your back and you lose your eyesight and it don't seem like the doctors told her for real that you could potentially lose your eyesight temporarily, so she's panicking and freaking out. By this time, Xavier's fine, he can go home, but he really admires her and likes her and is he is that I mean pursue when we say pursue. Uh-huh. He pursued. He was like, no, 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 no. I like you. I want you. So I'm not leaving you. And every day he would take care of her and he didn't have to. And it got to the point where the nurse was even rooting for them because she at first was like, you have no chance. But then she saw how intentional he was and how loyal and caring and considerate to someone that he doesn't really know, but made sure that she was okay and made her feel safe. And that's why I thought it was so beautiful because to see an example where a Black woman can be safe and loved out loud without like any expectations, right? Like at that point, they were just friends. Like she just needed support, emotional support. And he respected her in not just trying to be her boyfriend, girlfriend, but like genuinely just show her support, even if she would have said no. Just genuinely was there, was supportive, had her made her feel secure. By each day he would organize the items that she knew that she would be reaching for and would tuck her cover in. So um after time, of course, over time, they do this shot where it's like the sun rises as there's a new day, a new time. We transition into something new. The sun comes up. She can see. Thank God, I was blind, and now I can see. Hallelujah! It's a miracle. She can see, and so she sees firsthand how much like intention he has had towards making her happy, but more also towards accepting who she is. And I think that was the part that I think pulled her in because she told him straight up, I'm not going to be a wife at the house. I don't even know if I want kids. These are what I want to do, my aspirations. Instead of trying to change her, he just accepted her and he just supported, like, and was just there to the point where they do have kids, but she still her dreams and her goals, but she still, he made it worth it. Her he made it worth her disrupting her plans by just simply, doing those things. So I thought it was so beautiful. And you could really sit and unpack that. But it was beautifully done, beautifully written. It was really nice. It was really, really a good twist to add. So as this is happening, as we're going back and forth throughout the episode, right, of that happening, we flash back. Or it's a flashback. We flash forward to present day. In between these flash, which we'll talk about, we'll come back to that. We go back to present day. If here in present day, he's in the bunker with the kids. He has to pop his knee back in place. He knows that it's a very once he does it, he's gonna probably pass out because he was under surgery. They couldn't even pop it out in the hospital, so I'm gonna pass out. And he does. As he wakes up, he sees that the kids are in his bags. Um, he's trying to bond with the kids. Again, this is where it goes back to they've been so desensitized to violence and that they kind of have a hard time really connecting with him, but he still tries to, bond, tell him about his kids, what happened. And we really learn from their perspective, from civilian perspectives, what that day was like. Because again, up to this point, we really truly only know what happened with the rich people's perspective. But they were kids at a soccer game and it happened, and somehow all of their parents died, put them together. And they said their sister was not there at first. It was, yeah, I was trying to figure out, well, spill, you ain't really telling everything for real. So I need you to kind of get this. I need details. That's me. I need details. But they end up all surviving, only the kids, and they've been there together ever since. Um, and this is where the little boy goes, well, when you die, you're gonna die soon, I think is what he said. We were like, oh, okay. Yeah. And he was just like, maybe I won't give you this book because, okay. Uh, so I felt bad. And quite frankly, if I was in this situation, Laura would have to rapture me. I couldn't do it. I really couldn't do it. I don't think I would want to do it. Like, why would you want to do that when he has a place prepared for you? If he has a place prepared for me, mini mansions, say take me on. Come on. Where you at? You could try it. You could try rapturing me. You could test it out. I'll be a test dummy. Go ahead and take me. I couldn't do it. For what? For absolute what? I do it. So we get to it's happening and they're going to sleep and trying to sleep. And he has moments with the kids. We don't have to get into all the details there. It was a very sweet moment. He hears some body outside of the ship. So he goes to check it out, which is like, you're injured, but I mean, what you gonna do? Wait till he come in with the kids? He was thinking about protecting the kids, obviously, by keeping the danger away from them. So, but it was like, what are you gonna do? You can't. You don't have anything. It didn't matter because when he saw that hooded man was gonna go and attack those kids, it's like something just snapped. And Xavier in his head just turned on, and he wore that man out. Wore him out. Wore him out and down, hurt and all. To find out the kids saw everything, and you would. It was interesting. They had an interesting reaction. They weren't. They were desensitized again, but at the same time, they still had a level of innocence, a level of compassion. Because even though this man was trying to hurt them, they still gave him a burial. They still buried him under the dirt and with leaves. So it was just also, I think, again, showing you who are the people on Earth and how are they very different than the people in the bunker. Like, it's obvious how the people in the bunker are fighting at each other and getting at each other, and it's not in it like innocent. But here, these people are innocent, But at the same time, they see that he has been stabbed. Thus, Xavier passes out yet again. He wakes up back and he sees that the kids did take his stuff because they thought he was probably dead, but then kept the picture of his kids because I guess they were like, we're gonna take your stuff, but you're your kids. And so Xavier and now has to kind of start again trying to get information to get to Atlanta to get his wife. He, I guess, that thought it was gonna be like a quick little trip, run around, whatever. And no, like, no, not at all. But as he wakes up, he goes back to his plane to see if he can retrieve more of his stuff. And that is where he passes out again, and where Annie meets him, takes him on the horse, and brings it back to her house, Graceland. He wakes up in Graceland, and he's been going in and out talking about Terry and getting to Atlanta, how he needs to find his wife. And oh, I think a good connection that I saw on New Rock Stars, who I'll be referencing, is his daughter's name is Presley. So LOL at him ending up at Graceland. And when he's well enough, Annie informs Collins that he's not going to Atlanta, but rather he's going to take her to Colorado. And he tries to stand, but he realizes he's handcuffed. So I guess Annie's got balls now and is threatening people to take her to Colorado, which you could have went the first time. I just feel like it's so much like, animosity when you could have just went with him. How dare you? How dare you? Mm, that was ain't like that, but I was like, okay. So let bump what he wants. Let me deal with you. You're gonna do what I want. That's what she said. You're gonna do what I want. Okay. Now, lastly, we get to episode 3, where we wake up and we go back to the perspective of the bunkers because we've been wondering where they've been at. We started the season with people we don't know, bringing it back finally to Xavier. So now we got to find out what's going on in the bunker, and we go back and we see that what am I saying? Sinatra has woken, and here again, we do a little bit of flashbacks prior to the bunker to how do we get to where we are. So we do start it off where she is talking to a science guy who is pretty much has been shouting out what is going to happen, and no one listened to him until she really took it seriously. And so she's trying to talk to him to see what can we build, what can we do to create it, to stop it. And he's like, at this point, you need time and you don't have it, so you need to hide. And this is what launches that project, Colorado project. Thank you, Colorado project, into motion, into getting it done. Then, but there is a part of this, or before I get there, um, years later, Cal is elected, and he's really dragging his feet on it because he doesn't necessarily believe it. But his dad, who was there, who passed away in last season, or he maybe died earlier than that, but I think he had Alzheimer's or something. Um, she wants to get this moving, so her and the dad have a conversation, Cal's dad, about how can we get this going because we need to have plans in place in order to protect each other, and thus the dad tells her there are other ways that you can get what you want, as rich and corrupt people do. They get their hands dirty because when it comes to Colorado Project, it's not enough to hide, but like, how do we? What happens when hiding isn't enough? Because realistically, you can't stay in a bunker for long. You can't produce, everything is made up, fabricated. You got to think about what happens after. So if there is some type of cure, some type of science, whatever needs to happen to survive more long term, then how do we do that and what do we do? And There is a owner or a scientist in tech who has this technology but is not willing to sell and give it to them. So that's where father gives up his resources on a special type of person, which we find out is Billy. Billy is was a close friend of Xavier's. He also was a secret service. So, have mercenaries, thank you. Mercenaries be secret service agents. Okay. But yes, so he is the person who this is the first time that Sinatra has hired Billy to carry out murder for her. And she tells him to go meet at the bar, uh, meet with this guy, pose as being, nice, and then give him an offer to sign away his business and give the tech of whatever whatever it is that would help the planet. And instead of writing it, he goes to the meeting, they have a conversation, they bond well, he reveals his real intentions, Billy, and he thinks that he's gotten it, no violence, we're good. But then you see where the man has written down his address. So Billy's like, okay, now, so now we got to do the hard thing. But again, this man wrote down his address. He didn't say like go F yourself or anything like that. No, he writes on his address. So it's like, that's interesting. Okay. So when he goes to his house and visits, he sees that this tech person has his wife here who is dying of Huntington's disease, and he shoots something in her we've come to find out that it is a lethal injection. So we see that this man pretty much knows what's about to happen. He's not going to fight it, but he's just going to take control of the situation and maybe try to sway Billy in warning him of where this is going, and like, hey, remember these words because you got to do what you got to do. But y'all don't know what is about to happen, and y'all need to prepare yourselves, and this is not the only way. Um, so we come to find out that his wife's name is Alex. Remember that? And I will say that this definitely you have to like follow up and see what's really going on, because I was confused by the fact that, okay, they are trying to save people. You have tech that could, seems like potentially, right? This is me guessing, save the planet after this catastrophe happened. You have some technology or something that can help it. Why won't you release it to help people? Or what is the government trying to do that he feels like it's worth him dying over and only leaving it to one person to understand? Excuse me, could not understand that. But I think that's we're being breadcrumbed to knowing in the future what's about to happen and how this is going to come into play, on how to save the earth. And yeah, so the guy pretty much tells him like all this is by design, all this is happening for a reason. And he hands him, I think what really spooks Billy is because he's like, I'm going to, or here's a tissue because you're going to need it. Billy's like, of course, Billy ends up killing him after getting that strange message. He also, before the guy kills him, he tells him, please, the boy is gonna come. Do not kill him. He's innocent. You're gonna need him later to help deal with all of this. Don't listen to me. And I think because he told him about the tissue, when he does in fact kill him, and he goes out to the living room, he sees the boy come, and then he sees that his nose starts bleeding, and he needed the tissue. That puts Billy on pause, like, wait a minute. Let me not be impulsive here because there's something going on and something going down, and I need to keep this in mind. Like, I don't need to, I'ma listen because it's something y'all clearly not telling me about that's gonna impact me. And that's smart because some people just be shooting and just don't be thinking for real. But We come to find out that that boy that he was working with is Link. Well, this how it's all connected. It's connected. Now we starting to put it together and we starting to form and it's starting to come together. And I did forget to mention this for episode 2, but as we were going in flashbacks, we were also getting flash forwards too, where you would see Sterling in some type of facility and there would be a guy there with hair that looked like Link. And then as the episode progressed, you started to see Link and Sterling running in a facility to where you're like, okay, I assume this is in Colorado. It is called Colorado Project. So there's something going on there in Colorado. And they're running in a certain direction. So it was like, okay, clearly this story is going to take us to Colorado and connect because you're giving us little taste of why their love stories were important, why they needed to meet, and why they needed to get to Colorado. And thus finding out that Billy has known of Link, and Link was the other business partner in person who understood his tech and why it's important that they made it to Colorado. Whew, okay. You see, we putting the pieces together and they almost fitting now. Okay. And it's only episode 3. So woo, which they gotta get busy because they keep doing 8 episodes. But anyway. So we get this situation to happen. It flash forwards back to where Sinatra is back alive. She's woken up with her family. Derange Jane. I'm gonna call her name's Jane, but I'm gonna call her Derange. She does have a visit, and with her, pretty much now more in leadership role, but it's still a exchange because it's kind of like Sriracha. So I keep calling her Sriracha. Sinatra, Jesus. Sinatra needs her, but at the same time, the girl does have leverage. So she's enjoying this because she's a sociopath and being used, but still using it to her advantage. Um, so she says that like she doesn't remember who shot her. She's going with blaming Xavier. I think Sinatra is lying here. I don't believe her. I think she's lying. I'm pretty sure she knows that she shot her, but why would it benefit to air her out? She could just kill you now, but also at the end of the day, you know the girl's gonna do what you want, and it benefits you to have her in your corner because she's still gone unnoticed of being killed. How do you justify her being killed out of the blue? Like, so yeah, I am curious to see how this partnership is going to evolve, but nonetheless, uh, she gets interrogated by a lie detector. Here in this scene, we see that the therapist is back. She kind of get on my nerves, high key, because she just thinks she's just so, girl, I got this. I know what to do. No, you don't. You keep failing, boo, like miserably. You ain't anyway. They ask her. They interrogate her because the president, who ends up being the incompetent guy from season 1, he's very incompetent, but I think that is intentionally depicting how American politicians be men. He was like panicking, having panic attacks, not being able to do or hold on to anything, like be able to have any type of decision or anything. And now he's power hungry and I have the power. I know what I'm doing. Very much like a man in politics, you know. And mind you, Sinatra is the one who's put this whole thing together. Okay, she been like, say what you will, she is a villain, but she been running the show. She been doing it. She been making sure everything run like it's supposed to. And here you go, freaking out, panicking, and can't handle nothing. So you get in a meeting. People are clearly frustrated because he don't know what he's doing. He's trying to help or solve by doing things that don't really matter, like patronize, which again, American politicians love to do. He wants to create seasons so people can feel like it's normal. But the thing is, they don't have enough power to do that. And he's already been irresponsible with power because he keeps doing things to just appease and not really handle a situation. It's become a very fascist society in a way. Because if you protest, if you don't agree, you're immediately put into an underground jail, thrown away. You don't have rights for real. And people are protesting like Cal's son against what was going on because they know that this was all a lie and there are people down there who are suffering and they should be allowed a chance to be safe and be here. So they've started that underground pushback from the youths. Yes, the youths who start silver often do historically start civil rights movements, right? So, um one of the scientists who built it gets frustrated. He's immediately thrown in the prison. Like, okay, so everyone's just getting thrown in prisons if they disagree. But as she wakes up, he wants to do an interrogation. You see him really whine like a baby. The doctor is asking her, why is there power sectioned off in a way? Like, what are you up to? And you would think that they would ask. This is why I couldn't tell if the doctor was doing this on purpose to save her, but I couldn't tell because of their later conversation, or she was just really asking this question, but she asked her, "Are you using this power for personal gain?" So she was honestly saying no, because she's not doing it for personal gain. She's doing it for her family. She's doing it, I think, in some twisted way. She does think she's doing it for for the people in the community, but not with the best, doing it, carrying out in the best way. But she's not doing it for her. She's doing it for her family. She is doing it for the people here because it does impact her, but it's not a lie, you know? So they kept asking her over and over and over. And Baines was just getting like a little baby and child. And it was like, dude, ask a question a different way. I was like, see, silly. Because I'm like, ask it in a different way. Somebody got to tell you that. So anyway, we also find out, which I didn't realize, was that the psychiatrist, I think she's psychiatrist, and her go more way back because there's a photo of them growing up and they pinpoint that photo for a reason. But I was like, oh, I didn't know y'all was really that close. So it does explain why she was so portrayed when Sinatra pretty much was dismissed her and her recommendations and lied to her, why she took it so hard, because they do have a personal relationship. So, um, as this is going on, deranged is moving, trying to move her position in the FBI, and this is something I did not catch. But when I watched New Rock Stars, I was like, oh wow. But there was a saying that Sinatra would say to Billy to let him know that she wanted him to carry out a hit. And I think it was, man, this man's breath stinks. And she says that in the interrogation. So here you start to see that Deranged is now trying to insert herself into being the teacher's pet, being close with the president. And it does sound alarms to the black girl. I think her name is Driscoll, who already was having side eyeing her from season one when she was asking questions about, what happened, why were you there, and she really wasn't answering the questions. She really wasn't being fooled because black women be knowing when white women be caring, being a Karen. We be knowing, we be knowing. So she was clocking it. She was clocking her already, and then to come find out, she's now her driver. I said, driver? Excuse me? And then the girl gets a promotion. So let me get this straight. You you blame a murder on a black man, You then get a promotion. They demote the black woman, and she now drives you around. I said, "Oh, y'all got to wrap her up soon, cause y'all gonna get me. It's still Black History Month. What do you mean, huh?" So, and then so with her, we see that happen, and we see after she says that, we noticed that Deranged is now trying to make an effort to be up under the president, saying that like, "Oh, I'll watch you," or "I think it was good," making the president feel super comfortable with her. But it was also very obvious that I was like, "Why are y'all falling for this?" Quite frankly, but I think this is intentional. I really do. I think this is deliberate, and this does set off Driscoll, who is watching Xavier's kids. She's now natural. Okay, girl, I see your curls. She goes and looks at Billy's house, and she looks at his file. A lot of things are redacted. A lot of things are redacted on Deranged, what sets her off. She reads his file. She reads what they say, what happened to Billy, because they're saying it was a suicide. He didn't die of a suicide. They knew he didn't die of a suicide. Goes and looks at his house. She's looking at his house. She sees a wedding ring. She sees evidence that shows you that Billy was definitely looking forward to his to the future. Someone who clearly is going to commit suicide is not going to make those decisions or do those things. So she knows that it was foul play. She knows that it was a lie. And somehow, because they are tracking each other on their apps because they are Secret Service, Deranged goes and takes the president on a run because he wants to run and he wants peace, and he's hissy fitting because he's always around people, and thus leaves the girl with him as she takes her walk. Out of the blue, he stops. She's like, "You sure you don't want to run walk?" He stops. He walks. He's talking, complaining. Out of the blue, Deranged just slits his throat. I'm like, "What, girl? Uh, oh my god!" Like it was just like you like to kill. Like she is crazy. And then puts an X on his back. And at first I'm like, why you got an X on his back? She's setting him up to say that one of the youth protesters, the ones that killed him, to escalate to Miller, probably make this more of an authoritarian type of place, because now you're saying they're dangerous. If they're already throwing people in prison, now they're going to probably increase violence and probably have it very militarized. And thus, it does bring back control to Sinatra, because now who else is going to run it? She's going to run it, and she's going to run it with a tight ship, and she's going to do whatever she needs to do because he was getting in the way. And then, of course, he was being a man and chauvinistic. So she had to, yeah, get him back for that. But it was just like, oh, yeah, this is where, Sinatra, you're not a good person. Even if you aren't doing this for personal gain, you don't believe you are, but you are. But that's the thing. Like you didn't believe that you are. But yeah, because what? So as she's doing that, Driscoll gets went is oh, Driscoll is the white girl. My bad. I'm calling her deranged. So who is the black girl? What's her name? Oh, Robinson. My bad. Robinson. So when I was saying Driscoll, I meant Robinson. Sorry, guys. But Robinson somehow like tracks it, runs right into it. She ends up like pretty much framing her for the murder, putting the knife in her hand. So I was, and that's the end of the episode. But I was like, so okay, the black man is taking the rap for hit your crime. Then the black woman is the driver, and now you set her up for murder? I said, oh no, this little racist heifer gotta go. She gotta go. She has to go. She gotta go. And it better be this season. I mean it. Cause she made me mad with that one. I was like, yeah, this is targeted. You're targeting black people. I'm sorry. Like, and you're using your white woman privilege. to do such. And I think it's intentional. I think that's where the story is exploring how the people that are wanting power, the people that are the rich, the people that are, the government, the in power, the one percenters, will they be mostly the problematic people in society, and to how she, as a white woman, got this privilege. Because I don't understand how each single crime scene, she is there. Ain't none of y'all stepping back and asking questions. She was there for Billy. She was there for Sinatra, and now she's there for the new president. And ain't none of y'all asking questions. Y'all ain't saying, okay, but why is it always you? Because she's a white woman and they trust them wholeheartedly. Because it's like looking at Robinson's character and behavior, you should know that she would just not go and kill him. Like, why would she do that? It makes no sense at all. And then Xavier, like, didn't make sense for him either. Like, you knew he didn't kill the president. So it was just like, what? You guys know this doesn't make sense, but you take her word for it. Take her word for it. Even with Billy, you know that don't make sense. She gotta go. She had to go. Period. But I did forget to mention that meanwhile, while the youth are being pushed outside the ground, it is kind of backfiring because you're putting a whole bunch of people who are all like-minded in one room and having time to strategize. And that's what happens when Caos does meet the person who built the place and came up with the framework of it as far as building it. And so he introduced himself and he was like, "Hey, I need your help to blow this sucker to the floor." And I was like, "I know that is right. I know that's right. You better do it, sir. Avenge your father. Yes, do it." We find out that the maid is also working for Sinatra and she's filling her in. While she's filling her in, though, we see that picture of the psychiatrist because she does come over the house, which I found strange because the whole conversation was like, good luck, kid, meaning like, I'm not going to protect you anymore. I'm done. And I was like, you came to her house just to tell her that? Okay, you could have kept that speech. But she said it because she bugged her and bugged her picture because she wants to find out what does Sinatra have planned because Sinatra is not going to tell her everything because she sees who for Sinatra for who she is, which is Sinatra positioned herself to be this, like she's battling between good and evil, but she has good intentions, but doesn't do it in the best way. So kind of anti-hero, but we're finding out that she's not an anti-hero. She's truly a villain. And now the psychiatrist is seeing her through that light and is accepting her for who she is. So they have this really cryptic conversation where she pretty much says, she's getting closer. And I believe Alex, the name was dropped. So we know, or at least we can kind of infer that Alex probably isn't a person because she was a person. She was the scientist's wife. But we can now say that Alex is probably a program or something going on that is a part to Sinatra's plan that she wants to use it for. But Link must have some other reasoning for it as well. And I don't know, like, here are my predictions. Either this was all made up, not made up in that the scientists made it up, but like certain parts of this probably could have been avoided. And there's something about Alex that Sinatra wants that, which is why Link wants to kill it. Because if Alex is supposed to help save the world, why do you want to kill it? So there must be something that she does to it or did to it that benefits only a certain group and neglects again the rest of the people. Um because she doesn't see herself as selfish, but she is. Like she's a true capitalist, true elitist in her own way. But so my prediction is it's some type of system, right, where the government is trying to weaponize it and use it for their own gain or in under the guise of saving humanity or saving their people, but not saving everyone. And I guess we'll see how that happens in Collides when they get to Colorado. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this season. I think it's going to be really good. Again, I hate that it's only 8 episodes, but we should be picking up the story should be picking up very quickly. Gonna have to do with Sterling. I do think he's gonna find his wife because it wouldn't surprise me. She's a scientist, so she probably in some capacity, or she's a doctor. In some capacity understands what's going on and probably has something to do with at least helping on the ground. And if it has been I think it's been 5 years. Um, she's probably going to be one of the people that have come up with a solution on how to help and support Earth in Earth and the world. So I'm looking forward to see that. Those are a few of my predictions on where I think this is going. Is it's going to go down in Colorado. But definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments. How did you guys feel about the first 3 episodes? We'll be back. We will be back next week to talk about Traders, the season finale. So we'll probably pick another day for Paradise. I'll definitely let you guys know what day we choose. It probably will be that. Oh no, it will not be that Friday. We might. Excuse me. We might do it the night that it airs. We might go live the night that it airs, and then do Traders on Thursday. I don't know. We'll be out of town. So traders may have to wait until I get back in town, but for sure we'll be back talking about Paradise in episode 4. But until then, thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also follow me on at Lines Then Podcast over on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as my personal Lauren.Ashley on TikTok, Instagram as well for that matter. But thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next